evening all. Wrong jingle to start with, but hey, it's time to go wild. What a way to start another Monday. Yes, it's the Time to Go Wild radio show here on Halton Community Radio 92.3 FM. We're with you between now and 8 o'clock. Don't forget you can contact the show via Facebook, facebook.com/TTGW Radio, and Twitter, twitter.com/TTGW Radio, and email radio@witnessworld.co.uk. Oh, it's been a busy one because we're also on TuneIn app and online, ws.hcr923fm.com. And you can contact us by phone 01928 835 291. Evening, Doug.
Good evening, Cole.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Wow,
have a good weekend.
I did have a good weekend. Yeah, it was a very interesting weekend by looking from the fixtures.
It was, wasn't it?
I suppose I better play the right jingle this time and get on with this countdown.
Just proves it's live.
I know, yeah, warts and all. So here we go. Time to do this. Time to round up your scores from around the EIHL and NIHL Division 1 and 2 of the North for the last weekend. Starting with the EIHL Challenge Cup on Saturday. Sheffield Steelers 3, Cardiff Devils 4, Nottingham Panthers 3, Guildford Flames 2, Manchester Storm 0, Coventry Blaze 5, Milton Keynes Lightning 3, Braehead Clan 1. Moving on to Sunday in the Challenge Cup, Coventry Blaze 4, Braehead Clan 1, Manchester Storm 6, Milton Keynes Lightning 2, Guildford Flames 1, Sheffield Steelers 7, Cardiff Devils 4, Nottingham Panthers 1. Moving into the EIHL. Sorry, I think the first set was the league. I apologise for that. The first set of results was for the league. The second set now is for the EIHL Challenge Cup. I'm having a right mare this evening. Here we go from Saturday. Belfast Giants 7, Dundee Stars 4, Fife Flyers 5, Edinburgh Capitals 2. And for Sunday, Edinburgh Capitals 5, Belfast Giants 6, Dundee Stars 7, Fife Flyers 5. Moving into the NIHL Division 1 North Morley for Saturday. Blackburn Hawks D1 6, Hull Pirates 3. On Sunday, Sheffield Steel Dogs 4, Blackburn Hawks D1 1. Dragons 6, Whitley Warriors 11. Nottingham Lions 3, Solway Sharks 5. Solihull Barons 3, Telford Tigers D1 5. And into the division that matters for all the Wild fans, the NIHL Division 2 North, Layla. From Saturday, Hull Jets 10, Telford Tigers D2 2, Sheffield Senators 14, Blackburn Hawks D2 1, Coventry Blaze NIHL 6, Bradford Bulldogs 5. And from Sunday, Blackburn Hawks D2 7, Dragons D2 6 after penalty shots. Telford Tigers D2 1, Sheffield Senators 4, and the RTL Witness Wild 6, Sutton Sting 4. And that's the roundup of the results across the Elite Ice Hockey League and NIHL Division 1s and 2 from the North. Well, that was a busy weekend, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about getting I'm having a right mix-up this evening, so no, I apologise out there, though. The first set of results for the Elite Ice Hockey League were for the league and not the Challenge Cup from Saturday and Sunday, and then the second set was for the Challenge Cup. I need to make sure I write my script properly. Note to self. Back to the drawing board.
We do have a mixing desk, so we are mixing it up.
That's true. That is very true. In fact, mixing it up, let's have a quick look at the leagues. So, after the first few weeks, the D1 Morley is not too much of a surprise at the top. We've got Solway back up at the top, and you've got Dragons, a surprise, a bit of a Solihull, and then Nottingham Lions down at the bottom. A bit of a surprise, though. We've got Hull Pirates and in the middle of the table at the moment. They seem to be having a bit of a stutter for the start of their Morley season.
How many games have they played?
Pirates have played 3, Dragons, Barons played 4 each. Nottingham Lions 3, Solway 3. 3 unbeaten for Solway, and Telford Tigers D1 have on 3 games and 2 wins. And 1 overtime win. But anything, as we know with ice hockey, anything can happen. Anything can happen. However,
And it normally does.
I think D2 North Laidlaw is a lot happier for all those Widnes Wild fans out there, as this weekend proved, after a very gritty game in a actually a very competitive, fast-paced game. I think
It was a brilliant game to watch.
Yeah.
It was in the true spirit of ice hockey. Played hard, and at the end, everyone congratulated each other.
Aye.
But it was either team could have won that.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Sutton took the lead early on, and then Wild chased the game for a while, and then took the lead and made Sutton chase it. And absolutely cracking game. Highlights to go live a little later this week.
Just shows the opportune moments to do the timeout as well can matter.
Yes.
Because Sutton had a really good timeout and then come back with 2 goals.
They did. In fact, the stats are quite interesting, because all of the Wild's 6 goals were even-handed, but Sutton managed to capitalise with 2 even-handed, a power play and a short-handed goal. I mean, that was very... I mean, that I have to give credit as to Brandon Oxy. It was a...
With a safe home.
Sorry, Brady Doxy, sorry about that, Brady. But yeah, it was a fantastic goal.
It was. Mind you, Elvis's was a peach again, wasn't it?
It was. Actually,
Just don't let Elvis get the puck when there's no one around.
And just realised, I think we better hear from a few people who were at the game, don't you?
Yes. Well aware.
Let's hear from these two.
Hi, it's Doug Brown for Time to Go Wild Radio. I'm here with man of the match from tonight's match against the Sutton Sting, Tom Jackson. You all right, Tom? How do you think the game went?
It went well. We started all right, and then came back out in the second period, and we did really well. Got some quick goals, and lacked off a bit, but we brought it together at the end.
So, what do you think we're doing better this season?
Playing more as a team. We're not as much as a bunch of individuals again. Like we played together a year, most of us, so we've all gelled a bit better, and it's just easier to play with each other.
And how do you think the new members of the team have fitted into the system?
Really well, quite easily and quite quickly, to be fair, considering we had a short off-season. A short pre-season.
Short pre-season, yeah.
But yeah, they fit in quite well, and it seems to be going all right.
So, how did you enjoy your first man of the match?
It was good.
So, were you surprised?
Kind of, yeah. I thought there were people that played a lot better than me tonight, but obviously...
No, I think when you came out on your shifts, you played really well.
Thank you.
And you fought for everything. you were even attacking at some stages.
Well, if Mikey Gilbert would score, we'd get a couple more goals. It was a bit useless.
Yeah, well, he backed you up in the end, didn't he? When you got boarded.
It was quite a surprise seeing Mikey jump in, but it's what it is.
All right, thanks for your time, mate, and we'll speak to you again.
Thank you.
Time to Go Wild Radio. We've managed to catch up with Sutton Stings David Pyatt. Hi, David.
Hi, Cole. How you doing?
I'm fine. You?
Yeah, not too bad. We just took a bit of a loss, but roll on for next weekend.
That was a bit of a difference for you, playing now down in the D2 leagues.
Yeah, it's a bit of a step down, but we've brought in a lot of young players now, so we're not really the team that we were last year. We've got quite a few senior guys stayed around, but we're bringing on through now quite a lot of the juniors, and they're getting quite a lot of ice time. And as you saw by Doxy's snipe top shed, wow, what a goal that was!
That was a fantastic shot, I must admit. I was really wow, where did that come from?
Well, to be fair, I think it was a lot to do with the pass. It was a beautiful breakout pass by myself on the penalty kill, and then he just pretty much a tapping back door, wasn't it? So I was happy with that.
So it must be strange playing against some of your former teammates as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you play for so long, you definitely come across players you've played against before and guys that you played against for a long time. It's a little different now. We're all a little bit older, a little bit slower, but we're still having fun and enjoying ourselves.
That's the main thing, isn't it? That's what hockey's about in the end.
Yeah, it's one big family, really, and you battle out there on the ice, then after the game you all have a beer and reminisce about old times.
That's what we like to see. So who have you got up next?
Next, we're coming back out this way. We're in D-side playing against their new team, so it should be good for the juniors, get a bit more ice.
Well, that'll be an adventurous one. We'll keep an eye on that one, but for now we'll wish you well and safe trip home.
Cheers, Carl. Thanks a lot.
So there you go, Tom Jackson and David Pyatt there giving their thoughts and feelings on the game. It was a very, very eventful game in the right ways all night. I must admit, I've got to give that due to that short-handed goal. I mean, David did land a nice pass, but I was watching it back last night when I was editing that short-handed marker, and it just whizzed in.
Yeah.
And it was a cracking shot.
Matty didn't really have a chance, did he?
Not really, no, not where it went, because it's where that puck went is very hard to defend if it's on your blocker side high, so it's always a tough one for goalkeepers to stop. Well, better bring in our guest.
Yes. Oh, tonight with us we have. He just started officially tweeting for the Wild.
One of our tweets is.
I think he's doing too well. He'll get the goal. He'll get the thing on his own. It's Steve Aspinall. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, good evening. Fine.
Good evening. Thanks for coming down this evening. So, just let us know when did you start getting into ice hockey?
My first games were years ago when Sky was showing, and at Basingstoke were in what I think they called the Super League then. I really never caught the bug until I moved up here. I watched a few games. The general manager lived very close to me next door and gave me free entry in, so I went to a few games, but really caught the bug coming to watch the Wild at the end of the first season.
Yeah, the Super League, for those people who'd watched it, that was a very, very different kind of hockey. It was very much faster paced, but the kind of players you get in at this league, in the NIHL leagues, they are primarily the British players, where the Super League was dominated by overseas players, and each game has their own feel. I know you go and watch Manchester Storm play, and your impressions of the two as a comparison.
You go and watch Storm play, and the players seem a lot bigger, faster, and when they pass and the puck's received, it stays on the stick, it stays there.
Yeah, it is a very different quality of the game, but in terms of passion,
yeah, I'm big into amateur sport anyway, because like I say, I'm from the south. I'm a supporter of Aldershot Town, who
supporting your Aldershot Town top.
They've always been in the lower divisions. When I moved up here, I started watching Runcorn Linnets football, so I'm a big believer in watching your local side and helping them build.
Yeah, and that's the one thing for me as a supporter that I really enjoy about the NIHL leagues is the fact that a lot of your players can actually be very local, as well as from a bit further afield, and it just makes it that bit more inclusive. When you were down in Basingstoke, having been to the Basingstoke Ice Rink, it's quite close. So when you're watching it, you can be right on top of the players, can't you?
Yeah, like I say, I went last season, and I couldn't believe how the rink's changed. It's many years ago it was pretty new, but these days it's seen better days.
I gather there are potentially plans for Basingstoke. It keeps hearing murmuring, so whatever happens, and we do hope that there's all the successes, of course, come that way. Other rinks, they've had their ups and their downs as well, and it's always sad when you see a rink having a bit of a downturn, but the team Basingstoke Bison did really well last year, if I remember rightly, in the what was the English Premier League.
Was it last season they won it, or the season before?
I think it was probably the season before.
I think, because Telford won it last year, didn't they?
Yes.
There was all that hoo-ha about.
Yeah, there were issues, but that's about all we really know about it.
The season before they won the league.
Yeah, Basingstoke were always quite. When I first started watching, it was the British National League they were in, and they were always a good team to play. Very tricky team. They weren't gritty; they were just tricky to play against.
Days of Basingstoke Beavers.
That's before my time. The Beavers, the Weller Beavers, and then the Weller Bison. Yes. There's lots of other teams that we try and keep an eye on out there. Myself, there's a sort of I have a Hull affinity, and you have a Basingstoke affinity. In fact, when a friend of mine from over in Hull, he came up to Hull from Basingstoke, so he was a big Bison fan, and then he sort of adopted Hull as his local team. So you're another one, but you've adopted Widnes.
It's a bit of a shame this weekend because Guildford, who are one of Basingstoke's rivals, because it's all down in that area up here at Storm, but I'm actually going the other way down south to watch Aldershot play. So I'd have liked to have actually been up here to see Flames play.
Yeah. I mean,
that's going to be quite an interesting game for the Flames.
I think it will be. I mean, they're in their first season in the top flight, and it's. It is always tough when a team goes into the top flight and to take on the established teams. And we've seen teams moving from the now defunct English Premier League into the D1 North and D1 South, and the restructuring. And some teams that you'd expect to do well, like the Hull Pirates, you would have expected them to be quite up in the league, and the table up there, and they're mid-table at the moment. Yet Telford Tigers, who've also moved from, affected the backbone of that team, moved out. They're second in that table at the moment.
It's early doors though. It's only 4 games out of the way, haven't we?
Oh yeah, I mean anything can happen in hockey. I mean, I was chatting before the game. Actually, I was chatting into someone in work about it, and said, hockey is one of those unusual sports where anything can happen. And I was at a game once where my team, the then Hull Stingrays, were 2 goals down in the last 3 minutes of the game, and they pulled the goaltender to put the extra attacker on and scored twice. And this is one of those times where you only usually do it when you're 1 goal down.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're tweeting as well, you've got to have eyes everywhere, because you're looking at your phone trying to tweet what's happening, and something else is happening, so you delete something quickly and then retype. I tend to have certain things made up already in advance so I can paste them in, but Twitter's got this thing as well that you can't actually repeat the same thing twice within a certain amount of hours. So you have to adjust everything very slightly.
Oh wow, you learn something new.
Like if a common one is Wild Return to Full Strength, you can't just keep putting that. After the first one, it says it's a duplicate tweet and won't allow it, so you have to change it very slightly.
Oh, there you go. Listen, something new to keep your eye on there if you're a tweeter. I mean,
so we're going to ask you actually how your enjoyment of the game was changed, perhaps by doing the tweeting.
It's hard to say, really. I mean, I'm a lot calmer doing the tweeting.
We know you're a passionate person with your sports.
It keeps me calmer, but like I say, I mean, it really is just trying to keep your eyes everywhere, and I've got people around me know what I'm doing, and they'll obviously give me, if I miss something, they'll give me advice on what happened, because you can't see everything. It's such a quick game.
It is.
Tweeting between football and ice hockey is completely different.
Yeah. I did filming, and you're watching all over, and there's still things you miss, and it's always good to have somebody to tap you on the shoulder, or in your case, whisper in your ears as you're doing something. Actually, this isn't probably more important.
And it's great at Widnes because you've got Vince doing the announcing, and you get clear guidelines to who scored, who assisted. You get, when I went to Bradford, you didn't get anything. You couldn't even see really see the signals from the referee, so you were working blind to give out all the information. Yeah,
I mean, good announcements are a key part. I mean, as you go up the leagues, it's a big part of the game. I mean, it is difficult for some clubs to get announcers in, and they're building. I mean, Bradford is one of those clubs that is constantly trying to build, and every little helps, and it's all down to a lot of the time to people volunteering, which people like yourself and myself do week in, week out to keep our team going.
I'd have had a quieter night if I'd still been in the away penalty box last night like I did last season. It was a great game last night. Absolutely brilliant.
It was one of those games where you have plenty of good quality action. I don't know, for me, neither team let up, and if one team made a passing mistake, the other team would pounce on it.
The middle of the ice was controlled quite well.
It was just end to end, and I tweeted last night, it was like 2 boxers slugging it out each other, just not wanting to give anything away and just going one backwards and forwards. It was hectic.
I mean,
breathless.
It was a really, really good quality, good pace game.
I think both teams controlled it very well. They didn't lose the sight of what the goal was. And when Sutton went 1 up, and it was 1-1, then it was 2-1, then it was 2-2, and then the Wild got ahead.
Yeah.
And seemed to kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Which against a team like Sutton was probably not quite a good move.
No.
But
we
did come back from that. We came back really well from that, whereas in previous seasons we would have gone and sort of given the other team the advantage.
I'm just looking at the game sheet here for Sutton, and there's some names that I know they're really experienced players at umpteen levels. I mean, you've got the likes of Ryan Johnson, Simon Butterworth and David Pyatt, to name 3, and they've been playing a number of years. And those people who know me, I've known David Pyatt a long time. I mean, thank you, David Pyatt, for signing my shirt. Finally, we've managed to catch up and get my number 19 Hull Stingray shirt signed, and that's when I've known David a long time. And he's been to North America, he's played over there. That experience, as he said in his interview, is bringing on the youngsters as well. And
so we were playing quality players last night.
Yeah. If you go back to the game last night, you go back to the discussion we had earlier about the Storm and difference between the 2 levels. You've got to remember that our players will be going back to work this morning, and I bet they'll be feeling it. And the Sting players.
Oh yeah,
because last night that was relentless last night. Yeah, everything was left on the ice.
I mean, it was, and actually, it was a part of a talking point that we had sort of off the recording with David last night, and he said, he plays his hockey to enjoy it, and that's the whole point of the kind of ethos they're trying to play with the Sting, is that you go out and enjoy it, and then you go to work or you go to college the next day.
No, you don't go out to batter people.
No. Yes, it's a fast-paced game. Yes, it's a physical game. But in the end, it's not your career. It might be a stepping stone for some of the lads who get a good chance to go into higher levels. But a lot of the other guys, they're going to work.
I always think at this hockey players are so disciplined because it kicks off now and again, but they've taken so many hits beforehand and knocks with a stick and hit into the boards before it actually does kick off. They take so much and they still put up with it. And it's got to take some discipline to do that.
Well, I was with Tom Jackson last night. I mean, he ended up, I thought it was head first, but when I spoke to him after the game, he said no, his shoulder did actually hit the boards when he went down. I thought, oh crikey, not two nose dives into the boards.
Respect to Tom last night, because before that their 38 had a little go at him down the other end, and Tom didn't react. He just stood there, looked at him and skated off, and their 38 carried on chirping, but Tom didn't even react.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, as his mum said, where there's no sense, there's no feeling with him. That's Tom for us. He's a good lad.
Well, his mum did say he was playing better because 2 of his friends weren't on the ice and he had to concentrate.
A number 20 and a number 40 by any chance?
That would be the ones,
You look at Tom from the first, like I said, the first season when I started watching him, and how much he's grown up and filled out and become a person that can look after himself on the ice now.
Yeah. Well, I think we should take a little break, shall we, gents? And have a little bit of music?
Okay.
And you're requesting it, eh?
Hold My Hand by Jess Glynn.
So, time to cover our usual little roundup of what's-ons. And first off, a quick shout out for Mikey Gilbert today. Happy birthday, Mikey. It's his birthday today. Say that again, Doug.
Happy birthday, Mikey.
There you go. I know you might. Of course, we have our usual stuff on the website, our Puckers Pals, our Highlights podcast, season ticket and Supporters Club memberships. And don't forget your own and loan shirts at last count. I haven't checked today, but we only had about 8 shirts left. So if you want your own and loan shirts, check out witnesswild.co.uk. And the home shirts, £75. Well, sorry, there's no home shirts left, I should say. It's just a few road shirts. I think there's 3 left. And there's some warm-up shirts left, and they are £60. So check them out. And we also have coach travel on the 30th of September down to Sheffield when we take on the Sheffield Senators. Supporters Club members £4, non-Supporters Club members £7, and adults with a paying child £1. Check out facebook.com/WitnessWildOnes for full details. Doug?
Yes, so we've got the up-and-coming fixtures There's no game next week. However, on Saturday the 30th, we go away to the Sheffield Senators. And on the Sunday, we're at home to the Blackburn Hawks. On Sunday the 8th, we're at home to the Altrincham Aces, which will be quite a feisty game, I would have thought. And on Sunday the 15th, the Widnes Wild Women take on the Nottingham Vipers. On Sunday the 22nd, the RTL Widnes Wild take on the Sheffield Senators. All RTL games, home games, are on Sundays and face off at 5:30. I'd like to mention that RTL are offering 4 seats to people who've never watched an ice hockey game before. So if you want your friends to come along, get a taste of the sport, a bit like Steve when he first started, didn't know what it was about really, come along with our guest. So just direct message me at RTL_UK.
So there we go. Well, you know what? I'm in the mood now for a little bit of this. Yes, it's time for Mike Mauer's Monday Mantra.
And here are the words from Mike Mauer. Last night's game was our first real challenge of the season. We had spells of good hockey, especially at the start of the second period, where we came out firing, producing 3 quick goals. Overall, it was a good team performance, and I believe we're getting better week in, week out. No game this weekend, but our eyes are firmly set on maintaining our winning streak against Sheffield the following week.
And that was Mike Mauer's Monday Mantra.
Can't catch us in the car?
Download the TuneIn app.
Or log on at hcr923fm.com.
And we'll have a little bit more of that next week from the wise words of number 85, Mike Mauer. I love these. That's great.
It is. It's just shows. I ask him every week for a paragraph, and I get a paragraph, and it's great.
Yeah, some wise words. So, Steve, your impressions on the season so far, then?
Yeah, it's been good. Like Mike Mauer said, last night was our real test, and we came through it with flying colours. Yeah, we're playing great. And there's a lot of character being shown in the side. I think last season we may have struggled last night in the end with it being so up and down, so backward and forward, being behind a couple of times. But nah, it's great.
It is. It's I mean, we've got a lot of got a few new teams, as a manner of speaking, to play against as well. So they're going to be an interesting, particularly when we play the Dragons D2.
Seem to remember last season, I think we won the first 5, but I looked back at them and they were, without any disrespect, the teams you expected to be at the nearer the lower end. And then the first game we came up against one of the teams that were fancied. I think we struggled a bit and had a little bit of a poor run, but like I say, last night showed, I think, that this season we're going to be a different proposition.
I think actually, now you say that, I think you're right. It was one of those ones where maybe in some ways we took our foot off the gas after the first couple of games, and this year we've not really had much chance. I mean, both, I'd say the Telford game last weekend and the Sutton game that we had last night, I mean, they were tests in a very different way.
One tested your character and standing up for your teammates, and last night's one tested stamina. Because it didn't stop. It was a proper fast game. You came on, did your shift, and you came off panting. And we were 3 players down last night, so we did 4 if you count Danny. So to stand up to Sutton, who I think are going to be one of the teams to beat this year, we did really well.
Yeah, they've got some quality players. I mean, as you know, David said earlier on his on his interview. I mean, they've got a lot of youngsters, but they're quality youngsters.
Last night, you had Sutton, who knew that they could give us a game on the ice at hockey. Last week, Telford realised they couldn't, and then they had to try and spoil it and mix it up a bit and put us off our stride with their, let's say, antics.
Yeah. It's the thing is, it's all, in some ways, when done in the right way, it's all part of the game. I mean, I've been in the stands at other games, and you often hear, you're behind, so, just hit them. And sometimes that can make the difference. If the game's not quite going your way, you change your tactic, and that's what Telford probably did. It's one of these things where you can go out and try and be physical. It's how you use your alternative tactics can make the difference. I mean, as you said earlier, Doug, I mean, we had Telford call timeout at a very opportune... Sutton, sorry, mixing me worms up. Sutton called timeout, and it worked for them, whereas other times...
They were shipping 3 goals, and you could see them worried, because we come out all guns blazing on that second period.
Yeah,
and
three
they
goals
called
in 3
an
minutes.
opportune timeout and slowed it all down.
Came out in the next minute or two and scored. It's the way things go. It's tactics. It's important, and
I'm quite impressed with the way we do our power play kills at the moment, because we last night, not to ship goals, too many goals when we were short-handed. I think we lost. Did you say we lost one?
One short-handed goal. Yeah. That one though was they did seem caught a bit napping, and I must admit, Brady was away like a cat on a hot tin roof to score that. He was quick. He was very. But
the point that I don't know how many minutes we were down 5-on-4, but it was we seemed to have a penalty kill, have a half of 30 seconds of being even-handed, and then have another penalty.
But there were 2 penalties within 2 minutes of each other. One was 31-19, one at 33-41. So no sooner the player returned to the ice, the next thing we had someone back in the bin. But that's hockey for you.
Yeah, well, I think last season we took a lot of cheap penalties, and it cost us. This season we seem to be dealing with, when we do take penalties, we're dealing with them a lot better. I think that's part of the team growing up and becoming together more.
Well, I mean, you look at the squad from last season to this season. There's been only a couple of tweaks. I mean, we have to give a shout out again to Elvis, because that goal last night again.
The poor goalkeeper didn't know what to do. He did everything right. He came out, he made himself big, and Elvis just chipped him, and he's like, as you can see him look up, I can't do anything else.
It was through the 5-hole. It was actually through his 5-hole. As I was watching it back last night, editing it, and he just times it right, just flick, and it goes through the 5-hole before the keeper can drop.
Both goalies last night had fantastic games. I mean, if it hadn't been for them, I think it would have been a double-figured game on each side.
Oh, there were some super saves. I mean,
Matty's on fire at the moment. I mean, you say, he shipped 4 goals, but probably only one of those was his error. The rest were things happen.
Well, both goaltenders went a bit walkabout, particularly Matty at one point. He was like, what are you doing over there? He come past the hash marks last night, didn't he?
I remember when he went out wide once to retrieve a ball, and Bobby Corns was rushing towards him, hit it back towards centre ice, and Ollie couldn't quite get on it to put it back towards the empty net.
Yeah, but it was a bit of a heart-stopping moment last night when Matty got caught in the boards playing the puck. And like, hang on, whoa, goal's empty. And he was kind of stranded for a moment. The guys did really well to cover that one. But, yes, it's always a heart-stopping moment when goaltenders decide to go for a skate. Never nice when you're videoing. Still, we've still got a few more questions to come, a few more feelings on where things are going, but we'll have a little bit more music, shall we? Bit of AC/DC, Steve?
Highway to Hell?
Yeah, why not? Time to Go Wild Radio, of course, on Halton Community Radio 92.3 FM. If you've got birthdays or special events as one of our Wild fans, you can drop us a shout to the station either via our Facebook page, Twitter, or, of course, radio@witnesswild.co.uk, and we'll give you a shout out each week. You know, we want to include you all out there. About 15 minutes of the show to go, and we've got an event coming up, haven't we? Doug?
Yes,
He's
we
asleep.
have an event. Sorry. We have an event coming up on Sunday, the 24th of September.
Uh-huh.
And it's at the Brewers Fair on the same park as the ice rink, and we're having a quiz night, and it starts at 7 o'clock and it goes through till 9:30.
So,
And entries are £5 for a team of 4.
there we go. There will be some rules about use of mobile phones, of course.
Yes, if you caught using your mobile phone, there will be a penalty.
So, hopefully a fun night for all of you. So come on down to Brewers Fair in Widnes on Sunday, the 24th?
24th, yes.
24th of September, for a little bit of a quiz night and a nice little social get-together. If you make it a bit of a habitual instead of going to the hockey, come to a quiz
We
night.
might even have something to raffle off on the night as well.
Oh, there you go.
Depends if one of the players manages to sign it or not.
If not, we'll get him retrospectively
Yes,
to sign
yes.
it. So, a few minutes to go. Steve, we've been asked sort of my little favourite little questions we ask, and we'll start with the film one. Hollywood's making your life story. Come on, give us a laugh or a bit of entertainment here. Who's going to be your leading man and your leading lady off the casting couch?
Leading man.
Oh, try again.
Leading man. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, true look-alike.
Twins.
Of course, sure.
Well, there was actually a film with twins, wasn't
Danny DeVito and
there?
Arnold
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger.
yeah.
But Danny DeVito, he's shorter than me. He's got to be, isn't he?
And your leading lady?
Going to be a Basingstoke girl, Liz Hurley.
Oh, yeah. So, I have to go back through the podcast for this question and start doing a bit of a tally chart online for, see who's
How
going
many
to start
people
scoring.
have chosen this early?
NHL teams, do you actually follow any of the National Hockey League?
No,
You don't? Oh, well, that's
not at
okay.
all. I sometimes watch. I start work at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm up at 3:45 most weekends. So I catch a bit now and again, but I don't really have any favourites. I just sit and watch and enjoy the hockey.
That's fair enough. So, well, because of course the National Hockey League is going to be kicking off very shortly. They're in their pre-season.
There was a game last night. There was the first game for the Knights, wasn't there?
The Las Vegas Golden Knights. Yes. We're not talking about that one.
Well, I'm sorry, we got to talk about that.
The
one.
Canucks didn't do very well.
Yeah, well, the Knights did. Was it 9 and the Canucks 4?
Oh well.
So I don't think. Perhaps I think the way the NHL was organised is actually quite good because they've got quite a good team together, and people didn't protect players that they thought perhaps wouldn't be picked, which is why they got a pretty good goaltender.
Marc-Andre Fleury from the
Yes.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yes.
But I think the Canucks are probably more bothered about the fact they're off to China at the moment. So
There may be an addition later on to an NHL team because I have got a plan to go to New York. So if I was out there, I'd want to go and see an NHL game. So
there's one of our listeners. He's a bit of a Rangers fan, isn't he?
Yes.
Mikey T. So yes, he'd approve you going to see the Rangers anyway. Not that much. So
And there's a few Blackhawks fans sitting around as well.
I don't mind the Blackhawks. Right, Crystal Maid's question. So, and you've got a choice of Widnes Wild players from across the years that you've been watching. Who do you sacrifice a crystal to get out?
this is the one that I don't mind letting go.
You've got to give your crystal away. He comes back out to join you in the Crystal Dome.
Right. On his form at the moment and everything else that must go through his mind, it's got to be Ollie Barron.
Oh, well, you've been saved. There you go.
I mean, Ollie, I know you've got Mark on the bench, but Ollie must have everything going through his mind and playing, and he's bagging in a few goals at the moment as well. So, yeah, no, at the moment, Ollie is...
So he's in the Crystal Dome, but who stays behind?
I'm going to go for Joe Greaves.
Oh, another former player. Oh, Joe. Come on, why are you leaving Joe behind?
He's always been the pantomime villain, isn't he? But I remember a game at Widnes against Solihull and Perry Doyle, He took a bit of a cheap shot at Perry, and Perry, if anyone knows Perry, he's a big guy, but off the ice and on the ice he's very you wouldn't want to cross with him.
Perry hits hard, plays hard, but
off the ice he's like a lot of players. He's the nicest guy I've met. He really is a gentle giant off the ice.
Yeah, I mean a lot of big guys are. Yeah,
but Joe Greaves wouldn't come back out on the. Perry wanted him out on the ice. He was even beckoning him to come, and Joe just hid in the bench. He wouldn't come out again, and that always sticks with me.
Oh, I've seen that with a couple of players. I've seen one player. I won't name names at a game I was at, and the player actually was playing for my team. Had a dislike for a player on another team, and every time they were both on the ice, he had him in his eyesight, and the other player actually skated almost a full ring around the ice
to avoid him
to get to the bench as soon as he came on the ice, and it was so funny. I've never seen somebody do the Pepe Le Pew scared cat routine. It was like watching Pepe Le Pew and the cat that's got the white stripe down its back, where Pepe's sort of just gently pouncing, no effort, and that was the whole player, and the other one's going like crazy to get off the ice. I've got to get off.
Joe was actually a late decision. It was going to be Kenny for his comment last night about his assist being the greatest ever in the history of the game.
That's King Kenny's always modest, isn't he?
Well, I think Kenny was just impressed you put that on the tweet, because they got him an assist on the game sheet. Whereas it been put down for Lee.
He demanded it. I saw him at the end of the first period. He demanded it.
Well, it was actually from Elvis Lee with assists from Lee Kemp and King Kenny. So yeah, Kenny Armstrong got himself an assist last night. But actually, Mikey Gilbert's goal, the second goal.
Where he sort of does a tennis shot.
Yeah, the swat from midair. Often that shot will often get waved down, but I was watching it carefully on, I watched it, and I watched the replay just for extra peace of mind, and yeah, it's a good goal because the stick is actually below the goal below the crossbar.
Alright.
My eyes instantly went to the referee to see what he would give,
and the referee had a perfect line on it,
because I said to Mikey at the end of the period, I said, great cricket shot.
Yeah. it was a swat in the air, but often those to get at this level, they're often not given because they're not given as a high stick, but the stick was below the crossbar. So there was plenty of interesting goals. I mean, but to me, my goal of the night goes down to Brady. It was a fantastic shot. He just lined it up. Our defenseman had just skated a little too far, and that release was just sweet. Came out of nowhere. So I mean, I give credit where credit's due. That for me, that was my goal of the night.
You can see why Mikey was top scorer for the Aces last year, though.
Oh, he
goes on the ice and he's got one intention: score a goal.
Get it in front of the goal.
We've got goals coming from everywhere in this team, haven't we? Nick, I don't think Nick Manning. When Nick Manning clicks, really, he'll start banging a few in as well.
Oh yeah.
I think he's a great player, Nick.
Nick's a wonderful player. I call him the manager.
Nick got 2 assists last night.
Because when he's on the ice, he tends to run the plays. He watches what's going on, and they're all looking around to Nick, what's going to go where.
Thinking if you were liking it to football, he's the guy that does a lot of work but doesn't really get a lot of credit and helps others.
He sort of was, in many ways, he's like one of your hard-working feeding midfielders. If you want to liken it to football, a guy who gets play into the right places, and players like that are like gold. They are.
He's one of the most unselfish players you'd ever see.
One of your comments the other day about him scoring was funny. I remember you saying to me a comment you said to him about he'd scored instead of passing or something.
Yes, don't pass it, shoot. Occasionally, when you have the option.
And he actually did. It was a lovely goal, that, I must admit. Well, we've got about 5 minutes still to go. So we've got a couple of games coming up. We've got games to look forward to. Blackburn Hawks D2. That's going to be an interesting one. New team compared to what was they've took the place of the Blackburn Eagles, but it's a very different construction of team.
Well, looking at the Hawks results so far, they seem to be kind of taken apart by certain teams, and perhaps winners are going to have to be not charitable when we play lower teams, because it's going to come down to how many goals in certain circumstances.
You can't. The thing with hockey is you never take your foot off the gas. I mean, last night proved it, didn't it? We got caught short-handed, and once you take your foot off the gas, you can get punished.
It's very hard to come back, isn't it? Very hard to get that impetus back up once you've slowed down for 5 minutes.
I think the big one, I mean, the one, if you want to come to a game and you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not sure, Sunday the 8th of October, I think that is the one to come to. Widnes World take on Altrincham Aces. It's effectively the derby game.
It is, yes.
Altrincham Eagles.
Ooh,
we're waiting for someone to say that. Luckily, it wasn't either of us.
So yes, there's a lot of the rivalry between Altrincham and Widnes, of course, has built up. But of course, a lot of the former Blackburn Eagles players have gone to Altrincham, and it's going to have a lot of pride at stake in that game.
So when I went to see Storm the other week against Steelers, the Altrincham players were outside, and I know Aaron Jordan quite well, and they were outside waiting to go in to train, and I said to them, "Oh, it's Altrincham Eagles." And, yeah, they were all right about it. But I looked down, and there was about 4 or 5 kit bags, all with Eagles on.
That's what happens. Hockey kit isn't cheap to replace, and those kit bags are expensive. So yeah, you make the most of what you got, I suppose.
We think Altrincham would have bought them some, wouldn't you, really?
Nah.
But you're right. It should be a cracking game.
That one should.
It should have a bit of everything. That
one should, yes. And then, of course, the first Widnes Wild women's game of the season against Nottingham Vipers. Now, unfortunately,
we were going to have Amanda on tonight.
Unfortunately, the phone line's gone down for some reason. We're not sure.
So we do apologise to Amanda and the ladies. Hopefully, we should have someone on next week.
Yeah. We'll make sure this is. We'll check out the phone line.
It's worth getting down to those games as well. They're very entertaining.
They are. It's a very different style of game. It's a very fun game, actually, and I would recommend it.
I think we actually get more there than a lot of the men's teams in our league, to be honest. For those games at home.
Yeah, I remember them playing the Vipers last time, and the Vipers came on the ice and went, "You've got fans.
You've got music. You've got an announcer.
What's going on?"
Caught them on the hop. We put them on the back foot.
And that's the thing about Widnes all along. Widnes World, it's all off the ice. It's so professionally run. Everything is tried to be done properly and professionally.
Well, we're almost out of time for another week, so plenty to look forward to. A bit of a relaxing week, but we have a quiz night coming up. Plenty of time to recharge your batteries, get your coppers together for when you want your 50-50 tickets in your raffle, or your ducks. Of course, we have our chuck-a-duck.
The 50-50 prize is getting not to be sneezed at, isn't it?
And as they say for the other thing that's run by, is it Win a Lot? No, Camelot, that's it. You've got to be in it to win it, and you've got a better chance of winning our 50-50. I would say that much, and it all goes to a good cause.
£98 last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
It's just kind of...
You're doing well.
For £1 entry, it's not bad going, is it?
So there you go. The more you enter, the more chance, the bigger the prize pot. So yes. So, gents, been a good night. Thanks for coming, Steve.
Been a pleasure, thanks.
As always, Colin, wonderful.
And I'll be back tomorrow night from 10 with more musical mayhem from me Box of Delights. And believe me, I've got some treats for you. I'll be back next week, of course, from 7 with more from Time to Go On Radio. So, we're going to play out with a song this week. A little bit of Quo and Rocking All Over the World. So until next week, Doug.
Good night.
For me, ta-ra.